To the EDA Authority meeting here at City Hall, dated December 9th, Thursday of 2021. It's 7:32, so we'll get things started here. Mr. Chansky, would you do the roll call, please?
Absolutely. Bevins.
Here.
O'Day.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Beezer. Kirsch.
Here.
And Erickson.
Here. Okay, and now we need a motion to,
Move to approve Bevins.
Second.
motion to approve the agenda, first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And it's carried. We'll continue on. At this time, we have a presentation by Bnd Power Solutions. We will allow you 10 minutes, and we will be timing this, so no more over than 10, please.
Okay.
And then we'll have a little question and answer time after that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Fred, and we have Brian and Andrew here, and we're from Bnd Power Solution, and so I have this handout to everybody, and I want to give you guys some background information about our company. So Bnd Power Solution is a company together with our affiliate company CTM and Fountain Cloud. We're a major data center runner and service providers. So we have two core businesses, basically, full life cycle data center and mining sites service, and a smart data center solution, product solution. And I have we're having all the business in Asia and in North America, Central and South America. And if you can keep going down. Yeah, that's our two core businesses. First, it's the full life cycle service for data center and mining. So this customer will start having their demand standing to us, giving us their request based on data center and mining sites request, and we'll have staff to helping them to plan, give them feasibility studies, and provide consultation and helping them do the site design. And we also have crews to do constructions and provide products delivery and helping them test. And once it gets going, and we help them to operate and do the maintenance. And second business is the product solutions and services for the smart data center. So the old school data center, it will require a lot of people sitting in there, and the smart one will just require a very few short of people, it basically will run like remotely. You can see all the cameras. Yeah. And I have like our advantage. We have very experienced team, and we have expertise, and we can have the ability to deliver and provide operation and maintenance. And we have very reliable partners with major leading companies in different areas, providing supplies, and also a very deep customer background. Yeah. And those are like successful cases. We provide this consulting service for Goldman Sachs. It's in, and for their data center. So most of these successful cases are for data centers, and if you can just go over it, that's basically all the major projects we have done in China. Yeah, and the black box is a module of smart data center. It has all the racks and transformers. Everything will be just in there with wheels at the bottom. So the new type of data center will basically have a lot of these boxes just rolling in, and it's easy to manage. And yeah, that's a consultation we provided to Amazon that's in China. And it's an upgrade and a renovation of their old project. And these are the actual mining sites layout. You will see it's basically the same as a data center we'll have racks inside the building with all the machines hooked up there. Yeah, that's also a data center. Yeah, we also help major companies to do this data center run operation and maintenance. That's the Amazon one, and the next page, yeah, we have Alibaba, Tencent. That's basically all the major companies in China. We're helping them to manage their data center. And the last page I want to show you guys is our expectation to have on the land. It's the layout of the data center, the mining site, and that's the interior design, and that will be the very first stage of the layout of the mining site, with all the mining boxes on the land. But the next stage, we will have walls and buildings with all the fences around it. Yeah, that's the development plan. And also, because we required two pieces of the land, 2 parcels. One piece we will start with this mining site. The other one we're also planning for a smart data center there. Yeah. Yeah, I think that will be it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Questions from the commission? Any questions? Yes.
I have a few questions. One of my first questions was going to be, you have other locations, correct?
Yes.
How many other locations?
We have one in Ohio, and we're expecting one in Texas.
Okay,
Yes.
but you're Texas-based?
Yes.
Okay, so you're in,
Bnd Power Solution is registered in Texas.
okay.
Yes.
And how long has it been registered in Texas?
That's for 1 year.
Okay, and
And
before
our
that,
CTM and Fountain Cloud is our affiliated company, and our co-founder is owner of CTM and Fountain Cloud. They have been registered in the U.S. for more than 15 years.
okay.
Yeah.
And the other parts of the company were registered in China before that?
No.
No.
No. The Bnd Power Solution is a U.S.-based company with no China background. Yeah.
But you just showed us a bunch of projects in China?
Yes, the Fountain Cloud has a lot of business in China.
Okay.
Yes.
What is past experiences? Have you had these locations in the U.S. before?
Yes.
And-
Right now we're having one project ongoing in Ohio, and we acquired 3 acres of land there, and it's right close to a substation, and that will be a 50 megawatt to 200 megawatt mining site over there. And I'm also working with, I don't know if you guys are familiar with a company called Energy Transfer. That's a major pipeline company of U.S., and we're currently engaging them and looking for another 2 sites they own, and also provide natural gas to us. That would be also another project ongoing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any locations in the U.S. that have run their course? that
I'm
you've
sorry.
Left?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Do you have any locations in the U.S. that you have operated in and then left?
No.
Not at this time. Okay.
No.
Do you know what the total capacity of your operations as far as megawatts or electricity is right now?
So far for Minnesota, for this Minnesota project, we're looking at 50 megawatt to 200 megawatt capacity, and we have the machine ready. And all the container boxes will be ready for the first 50 megawatts. Will be April next year.
Okay.
Will be shipped to the U.S. Yeah.
This body, I don't believe, is here to discuss how many megawatts are used
Okay.
on this project, if
Oh, you're right.
I'm correct.
You're correct.
We're talking more about the land.
Okay. Yeah. You mean the usage of the land?
I'm talking about the total capacity or total usage of your company altogether. How much electricity is your company using throughout the world?
We're acquiring the in Ohio project. We will start with 20 megawatts there because that's what's available, and we're upgrading with Ohio Edison, which is a transmission company, and we will have a high voltage line wired in, and that will provide us 200 megawatts. So that will be the operation there, and here I think we can start with the 50 megawatts here, and that will be the capacity here. And we're still engaging with Energy Transfer to see. I think it will be starting with 30 megawatts with what's available with their property.
If you can start with 20 or 30 megawatts there, why can't you start with 20 or 30 megawatts here?
We are capable of providing 50 megawatt service and all the machines.
You're capable of it,
Yes.
but it's not a requirement.
We want more capacity on this. Yes.
I've gathered
Yes.
that from multiple. I've gathered that from this industry in general. Everybody wants a lot of electricity. So
Yes.
I understand that. There's been some concerns brought up in the community, so I feel like I just need to ask you some questions.
Sure.
Current legislation in Texas that's being introduced, having to do with foreign subsidiaries not being able to operate in that state. Is that a reason why you're not looking in Texas? You're looking in Minnesota?
No, we're not. We actually are engaging with the entity in Texas right now, because all the locations with Energy Transfer will be located within state of Texas.
Okay.
Yes. It's just they're later. Yeah.
And then just my last, I think I still have a couple questions.
Yeah.
How unique was Brainerd in your search?
I'm sorry.
Looks like you're looking at 3 different places, Brainerd, Ohio, and Texas, correct?
Yes.
How unique was Brainerd, Minnesota in your search? As far as power capacity available?
Yes. That play a very big, important role of our location searching. So City of Brainerd has a capacity and it's available with a primary transformer, 50 megawatts, and all the constructions can be done within a month. And that timeline is also very important to us. And for example, like Ohio, the reason why we can only start with 20 megawatts is because the 130 voltage line, it requires a very long time construction, and we need to order a primary transformer for it. And the primary transformer, it takes about half a year to build. So that this availability here is really important. Yeah.
Last question. Obviously, there's a lot of profit involved.
Yeah.
Where do these profits end up? Obviously, you're investors. I
Yes.
just don't know where your investors come from.
Oh, you mean the investors coming from it?
People making money off your company, or you guys making money off your company. I don't know where you live. I don't know where your investors are coming from. Where does the money end up?
The money will stay in the U.S.
So it's throughout.
Yeah, the investor is also a U.S. entity, so everything will be operated in the U.S.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't have any more questions.
Yes.
Hello,
Hi.
thanks for coming.
Yeah.
In your proposal, you have 2 lots that you're requesting,
Yes.
and you've labeled them Lot 1, Block 2, Lot 1, Block 3. We have 6 lots that we could potentially convey to anybody who wishes to buy them. How stuck are you on the 2 that you named in your proposal? I mean, would any 2 do?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Any other questions? Yes.
If I may add in on it, if I recall, the 2 lots.
Can you come to the podium? This is
Oh,
cast online.
Sorry. Yeah, my name's Andrew. I'm part of Fred's group. If I recall, the 2 lots that we originally picked, those were the ideal in terms of constructing and moving the power to our location. Those were the 2 ideal locations because they're the furthest back, closest to the main sub, right? So that's why we originally chose those. But the land is land, so I mean,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah. So you're
Not
right.
like you're in
Absolutely
a
right.
storefront.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Marie?
I was just wondering if you could speak a little bit to the project timeline and what's involved in getting set up? What construction is involved, and what vendors were you planning to use for any setup or construction?
Yes,
on the
yes.
lots?
We have already started with the conversation with the BPU, and they have already gave us the planning of getting the wires to the site from the substation, and that will. And regarding to the land, we will start with solid the land, and we will have fences up, and those are like the major construction at the very first stage. And we will have the container boxes on. And meanwhile, we will start planning to do the smart data center planning, because that requires more budgets and more investments in it. It will be 10 times of the mining sites. So for the 50 megawatt mining site, we're investing $10 million in that. And for a data center, it requires 10 times of the money for that data center. So it will take more time to plan for that data center, and it also requires some adjustment of the high voltage line, because there is one transmission line coming in from the major suburb of city of Brainerd, and there is another transmission that we have engaged with BPU to see if we can have another high voltage transmission as a backup transmission line to us. But the major construction going on the land will be solid as the land, and having fences up, just like the on the map shows. And we'll have like interior will be just laying boxes there, and have all the PDUs and all the electric circuits work.
So the initial construction would just be basically bringing in shipping container boxes, so there wouldn't actually be any construction involved other than just the fences that you mentioned building?
At the very first stage, because this is very time is very important to us, so we would like to start with the design as shown on the picture. But for the data center, we will definitely build a building for that.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you have vendors and are you planning to use local
Yes.
construction?
Yes. We're going to use local construction teams and local vendors for that. Yeah, that's what we're doing in Ohio. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I do have one question. Once,
Tony, if you're going to abstain, I don't think you should participate really in any
Oh.
discussion.
that's fine.
Good. Is that all right, Mr. Lang? Yes. Okay. All right. I have a question. Do you have someone, you're not operating in Ohio now? You're
No.
just in construction.
Yes.
Is there any place in the United States that are actually operating?
No. We started this, we have been engaging in the state of Ohio and with the transmission company for several months, and we finally made a deal, and we started building that.
In the city, what, is it in the city of Ohio? Where's it located exactly?
It's in the city of Massillon in Ohio.
How big a city is that?
That's Andrew's hometown, and I'll have him introduce that.
Yeah, it's not quite.
Yeah.
Massillon's not quite my hometown, but my family grew up there. It's a northeast town, big old steel development. It's quite big. I'd say it's probably about mid-size, so about probably double what Brainerd has, maybe a little less, because it's been a lot of movement out of there because the steel factories all shut down over time. It's up near Canton, so it's a mid-sized city.
So 40,
Industrial.
50,000?
Yeah, probably around there. And I could have those numbers wrong because I'm not a resident of Massillon. I'm from somewhere else, but it's a pretty decent sized city.
And the reason they have the power is because the
Old steel.
steel mines have went down,
Absolutely.
and so they have the
Absolutely.
capacity.
Yeah. And if I could, the reason, so I think it's been about 1 year since China, they actually banned crypto mining in their country. And so all that power going to crypto was about 1% of their grid, and all of a sudden it just disappeared. And that 1% is still migrating around the world. So the reason why there's not a lot set up in the United States right now is because there hasn't been enough time to move everything from wherever it was in China to wherever else has to go. So the fact that, we don't have 100 megawatts operating right now is pretty normal. There's a lot of people, as you guys know, looking for this. So, but I just wanted to say it's not because we can't do it. It's because there's a timing involved here. It's only been a year since crypto was banned. And why it was banned is the Chinese government, they wanted to kind of have more control over it. So, but there's a lot of capacity that is coming over, so there's a lot of opportunity. We're talking millions and millions of megawatts. So
Okay.
it's a little
Any other
background on
questions? Gabe?
Yeah, one question. Were you guys operable in China, and how many megawatts of capacity were you using to mine
2,000
Bitcoin
megawatts.
in China? Huh?
2,000 megawatts.
You were using 2,000
Yeah,
megawatts
2 gigawatt, yes.
of power in China before
Yes.
they banned it. And you were mining operational. You knew what you were doing.
Yeah, and we're a major consulting company for all these data center owners and mining side too. So we're not just serving Chinese clients. Chinese clients is basically is playing a very important role in our client basis. But we have a couple major U.S. company in our consulting service too. And the Ohio deal, we're actually providing the service to a U.S. company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you very much. Bnd Power, appreciate your presentation. Now we'd like to have a presentation from the Klaus, and you'll have the same 10 minutes and a Q&A time also.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, this has obviously been an interesting process, and it's been new to us. So, this really hasn't gone the way that we foresaw it going. So, this has really been an exciting time for us. Monday night after the city council meeting, I went back to work, and I was there until about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I slept on the floor of my office working on what happened here and why is this not going the way that we expected it to. And I think a big part of that is us not understanding the process of city government. So I really just want to start over. We live here. We see you guys everywhere. We think that we have a mutually beneficial proposal for you all. A couple of you are business owners. One of you invests your life helping people with their relationship with God. One of you devotes the massive amount of your time to your city. And, as a former volunteer firefighter, first responder, I sit on my church council. I'm passionate about community as well. And I think that we are a really good fit for each other, not to mention the Clow family and their existing businesses in this community. Perception is reality, and the community as a whole, whether it's accurate or not, the outspoken population of the community thinks that the history of trying to get businesses into the industrial park has been challenging, to say the least. You've got a local company here standing here today telling you that we will pay up front for half of the lots in the industrial park with first right of refusal on all the rest. We're telling you we'll move all of our businesses to the industrial park. We're showing you the impact we'll have on this community, not to mention the fact that we have an operational mining company. Right now, it's up and running. We also are moving forward with other projects. So, the opportunity here is for us to continue to grow in the community where we've already been operating a business for 40 years, and the Clow family and Cindy and Steve's families both long before that as well. We really aren't asking for any favors. We're asking you to consider the fact that we have a reputation in this community for treating people fairly. I really believe we've earned the opportunity to take on this project as a whole. And I'm asking you to consider the future value to this community of having a local company operate this project or a non-local company operate this project, and where those dollars end up and where they get reinvested. You know, not only do we have an operational, successful mine right now, but we have a plan. Our plan has been well documented. You all know, but I'll just reiterate that we're using all local contractors, all small businesses in this town to run this project, to execute this plan, to bring on new employees to help us run this project. To me and to the people that I've discussed this with, it seems like an absolute no-brainer. But up until this point, we've kind of had the discussions in all of our meetings with BPU, in discussions we've had with other community members. We're kind of being told that the thought is there's room for both. And there just isn't. You know, it's a tough decision that you're gonna have to make, but you're gonna have to choose either us or them. Because to justify the expense of building out this operation, we need the longevity of the 50 megawatts and hopefully more and more in the future. But to invest all of the infrastructure for a split of that power is just a massive undertaking without the long-term reward. So, you know, I know it's a tough spot. I respect that it's a tough decision for you all. But I really, truly hope that as you think about our proposal, you think about who we are, you think about our track record in this community, I really hope that you all decide to shop local. That's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Michael?
So over the past, week and a half or so?
Feels like 6 months.
Yeah. We went from 2 lots, 10 megawatts now, 10 more at the end of next year, to 4 lots, minimum of 60 megawatts. What happened?
Yes, great question. What happened was we initially thought, okay, how much money is it going to take to build out a project of this scope? And this scope was 10 megawatts. We put a business plan together where we went out and presented it to some community members and said, hey, we're just floating this to you. We don't have the cash right now to fund this entire project. So what if we sell you some miners in our operation? Our operation's gonna go live mid next year, who knows exactly when, you know, but are you willing to give us cash right now to help us build out this project for the future return of owning miners in our operation? I met with 6 people in 3 days. Every single one of them said yes, and we raised over $5 million. That's what happened. We said, okay, we have proof of concept. We know we can run the mines. We know what we're gonna make by running the mines. If we can get investors to jump in and help us on the front end to generate cash to build out the infrastructure of the plan, we could go significantly larger than 50 megawatts. I'll just keep on going to meet with people and they'll all continue to jump in because it's so lucrative. And that's why there's so much value for this community. There's gonna be dozens and dozens, eventually there could be hundreds of people making significant money off of this, and we all live here. That money's staying here, that money's going to our restaurants, that money's re-injected into this community, into our other small business owners, and we just feel that that's a very compelling argument.
Did you get your answer, Michael?
Yeah,
You have another
I
one?
think so. So I know that you guys knew what the overall capacity was with BPU. You knew that there was another group that wants to come in, and there's multiple other groups that want to come in. Mm-hmm. And now that it's in the paper, there's probably going to be hundreds of other groups calling today.
Yep. Sorry, Trent.
But in this process, when you were acquiring investors, do you think you overpromised your investors?
No, because we already have the infrastructure to be able to support what they're investing in. We can put their mines inside of our current existing operation that we're doubling in size regardless of this specific project. We're already doubling our current operation, and now we're moving on to another operation in addition to this project. So we're growing right in this little town, and we're growing in a big, big way, and we want to continue to grow right here. But no, we absolutely have the capability to execute this plan without this specific project.
I don't know if we're talking about proposals yet, or if we're just talking
Yeah, no
about.
proposals.
No, we have none, nothing.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
we have no proposals. I apologize, I'm confused. I have one in my packet from B&D, and I have one in paper that I was handed by Mr. Chansky. I have proposals.
I think I was just referring to the agenda items. I don't know how
Oh,
this is.
Yeah.
I see.
talking about that.
I thought you shift gears.
Discussion
Are we,
of the
are we
actual-
ending, are you ending discussion, or may I ask this man questions?
You may ask this man a question.
Okay. Okay, I do not know his name.
My name is Ian Ulrich. I'm sorry, sir.
Ian. My name is Kelly. Nice to have
Nice-
you
yeah,
here. I
thanks.
only know you from your antics on Monday night.
Antics.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, mutual.
I apologize we weren't allowing you to speak.
Thank
We
you.
allowed each organization to introduce themselves. But as you know, since you were paying attention, the time to speak is now.
I understand that. To clarify, since you brought it up, I would like to respond to that, if that's okay.
That's up to the chair.
Is that okay?
Is that proper?
Yeah, that's up to you, sir.
Okay, so what I was hoping to discuss was a proposal that was not mentioned at that meeting. And we were told we can't discuss the proposals that were being discussed there. We have a proposal that was submitted to the city council prior to that meeting. And since it wasn't one of those proposals, I was hoping to discuss that one. Bygones be bygones. Like I said at the beginning of my conversation with you all, what happened before, I hope we can just move on from, because we're all gonna be seeing a lot of each other. And I just really hope that we can move forward. But yes,
Okay. Do we have any questions?
I do.
about his-
And I needed to know who he was, because,
Let's
you know,
have-
I only know him from what happened Monday. Okay, Mr. Chair, this might be a question for you, but I'll ask it of Ian. I've got 3 proposals from you.
You
Plus
do.
the 3,500 of them that are out on the internet. You do know that your proposals are being put on the internet by, as far as I know, non-members of your organization, with all kinds of various information. Mr. Chansky handed me this one today and said, this is the one we're discussing.
could I see that, please?
You absolutely could. December 1st, 2021. I believe it came from you.
Your most latest one, yeah.
Like you said, there are 3.
There's more than 3, Ian, but
Well, not
just
from
the
us.
3 that we got.
I only wrote 3, so
Well,
I can only speak to those.
I wonder how all of those other people got your proposals, because I don't think anybody here gave them.
Oh,
to
I
the-
can tell you exactly.
No,
We've
there
been
was-
sharing our story in the community because we think it's
Well, then
compelling for the
You
community.
have a lot of falsehoods to answer for by doing that. We'll get to them at the next.
Well, I obviously can't speak for what other community members say.
Question would be, why would you negotiate that way?
Negotiate what exactly?
Though I believe we're negotiating the purchase of industrial park lots.
Okay, my
That's an
response.
odd way to negotiate.
Okay,
Usually we negotiate like this,
right.
not on Facebook. That's just unusual. It's a comment, not
I
a
would just
question.
like to be clear. Are you referring to something that I or a representative of my company has said?
You said you did. You just said you just put it all out on the internet.
I did not say that, sir.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I
I
said
asked how those other proposals got there, and you said, we released them.
I did not say that, sir. What happened was we started having conversations with our investors that are purchasing miners, and they in turn had conversations because we feel like this is a massive opportunity for the city of Brainerd. And I didn't feel like we had an opportunity to tell our story Monday night, so we went and started talking to the community. And we said, here's a proposal that we've submitted that we aren't having an opportunity to discuss. And we really hope, and I understand from your perspective, the proposal was being discussed. We had a more current proposal that was not being discussed. So what we did is we went and talked to people in the community and we said, hey, we're all in this together. We're trying to grow this community and impact it in a big, big way. And we'd like you to be aware of what our proposal to the city is. And I see nothing inappropriate with that.
Okay,
Okay,
back to this.
sure.
Is this the one we're talking about?
The one that I have here dated December 1st is our current proposal, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
A question, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
It says in this, 4 parcels.
correct.
I asked the other group, and I'm gonna ask you the same question.
Yes.
Are we stuck on any of the particular 4? We have 6. They want 2, you want 4.
As I mentioned at the beginning of this,
Yeah.
your committee, is that the correct term for this group? Is this a committee?
Yep.
Your committee is gonna have to choose either us or them. Our offer is to purchase half of the lots in the industrial park with first right of refusal on all the remaining ones. Because Just for Kicks and the Tea Hive need a large footprint to operate. And we've committed to bring our businesses to the Brainerd Industrial Park, so we need a bunch of land.
I don't see that in here. I see 4 lots.
It's in the letter of intent. There's a contingency in the letter of intent.
Mr. Chair,
Okay.
Yes.
if I may, I believe that we're talking about the December 3rd proposal.
Jennifer, this is the one you sent out. It's dated December 1st, signed December 3rd by Mr. Clow.
Thank you very much for the clarification. I
And then
appreciate
Ian
that.
just confirmed that this is the correct proposal.
That's correct. Yes, it is. Yep, this is it.
Okay. Well, I see that.
I see 4.
I see 4.
There's also a request for first right of refusal on all future lots.
I understand, but I
So-
see 4. Next question, Ian. It says the buyer intends to purchase the property for $500,000.
Correct.
Really?
I don't know how to answer that question.
That's a lot of money for those industrial park lots. Are you sure you're not confusing money invested in Brainerd Public Utilities infrastructure with the price of the lots?
Thank you.
I'm
Yes.
trying to,
Now
I'm
I
trying to
understand the
separate,
question.
how much are you offering for the lots? I can't see that.
I understand that's also in the letter of intent, but yes, to clarify, we are offering Brainerd Public Utilities $500,000 to bring the power to the lots. In addition, we're offering $500,000 for the 4 lots, which is a little over $65,000 per acre.
Okay, 65,000 plus. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just trying to clarify this.
I understand.
Okay. You mentioned today a couple of times that there's absolutely no room for 2 of you.
Correct.
Yet our own public utility says over time that there likely is. You have changed your request for power a couple of times.
Yes.
We started this whole conversation with all of the different proposals
Yes.
that you've released to
Yes.
your potential investors that have made it on the internet with all of the things then that happen when you do that. I can add 60 and 60 and come up with 120, and our public utilities, I'm sure they'll get a chance to speak to this, can do that.
Great.
Maybe not immediately, but by your own words, you're a year and a half out. May not be exactly.
I didn't say that, just to clarify.
Oh.
Well, we expect to be operational next year in 2022.
Okay. So it seems to me that it is doable that both of you could operate.
I understand.
I'm contradicting what you're saying, giving you a chance to contradict me.
Yes, I fully understand why you would feel that way. So there's a couple things that we know, okay? We know that it takes capital and it takes time to accumulate infrastructure to build out this project. We also know that once we have a 60 megawatt farm, we will take every megawatt that you could ever produce in perpetuity, because we will generate enough capital to build out future expansions. We also know, because we have massive dealings in China, imports from China, many. We know how Chinese business people work, and we know that if we go into a business that they are also in right in our neighborhood, we know that perpetually it will become a bidding war to get future power. And that is not a good business decision for us. It's just gonna drive up our costs, and we can take it all. So yes, I understand why you could see that there would be room for both, but if it's gonna take you time to build out the second phase of it, we want all that too.
Okay. Okay. May I continue, Mr. Chair? I realize I'm taking some time.
Sure, please.
Okay, discussing the negotiation strategy. Are you familiar with the letter I've received from Larkin Hoffman dated December 7th?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can I ask you questions on this letter?
Of course.
In this letter, it says that it doesn't say the clause, it says Clow Properties LLC requests that the city immediately reconsider its motions on the above matter, which the motions were to convey the 6 lots to the EDA.
Correct.
Are you sure you want us to reconsider that?
Here, can I explain my thought process in the reason that was written?
It's up to the chair. I just wanted to know.
Understood.
You really want us to do that?
Well, I understand why you ask, and if I may, I would like to address that.
Quickly.
Okay? What we saw get voted on was not the proposal that we submitted to you. The lots that we requested were changed, and then you voted, and we were never given an opportunity to say, wait a second, those aren't even the lots we requested to purchase. So that's why we felt that we weren't given an opportunity to say, wait a minute, why was our proposal changed without us knowing, and then we can't even talk about it, and then it's approved. So it just felt very odd. And so at that time, when we worked with our attorney, we said, wait a minute, the lots were changed, we couldn't do anything about it, we couldn't discuss it, and then it was approved.
Okay. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to clarify for this commission, we received, since they've had so many different amounts of offers out there, we received the letter of intent of November 18th. This body acted on that and sent it to the council. That is what the council acted on. It wasn't anything that came after our meeting, like this one's dated December 3rd. That was the day after the last time this body met. So what we acted on was exactly what they asked for just 2 weeks ago.
Except that the lots that you acted on, we never requested.
Thank you, Mr. Chair,
That
for
would be the
recognizing me.
difference.
Thank you.
Can I speak? All right, I'm sitting here, I'm Steve Clow, and I'm sitting here listening to this. And I have to interject a couple things that I think is ridiculous. First off, the city council, Kelly, the other day when I stood up to speak, you told me I cannot discuss this proposal. You then turned around, and it's on video, so you cannot dispute this. You reached out to Andrew and said, Andrew, would you like to speak on your proposal? So there's something odd going on here. I don't understand all this. So first off, I want to interject that what part of this is, all along, you guys have completely said, BPU and all of you, in here and outside of here, there's enough power for both parties. But that enough power is 50 megawatts for the Texas Chinese company and 20 megawatts for us. That has been, Gabe, don't look like that. This is factual. This is factual. If you guys want to give them 50 megs and us 50 megs, let's do it. But this is kind of crazy. Something's odd here, and I don't understand. That's what I have to say. My wife and I have been business people in this community for 40-some years. 40-some years. And we're being treated like this? You're sitting there, Gabe just said there's been so many proposals. So many proposals. There's been 3 proposals. 3 proposals, Gabe.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. But this has been a fast-moving project. So it has. There's been so much stuff going on. I've had multiple meetings with BPU. You guys can have 10 to 20 megs. Okay, so why are you going with 50 megs with this other company? They couldn't really give us an answer other than to say they came before you. I don't know. I am very disappointed in this community. Very disappointed right now. I have, since a young child, I listened to my father tell me, this community will never bring industry in here. And here we are still today. I can sit here and tell you businesses that have left our community because they couldn't work with the city council and couldn't work with the EDA. What is going on? I don't get it. Don't you guys want to develop this community? It doesn't make sense, guys. It does not make sense. And I'm very disappointed in all of you. Thank you for listening to me.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
No, I think I'm fine.
Okay, if Kelly's done, I've got a couple.
Okay, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, just to clarify, Ian, you said this document that was signed the day after our last meeting is the one we're discussing today?
Correct.
Okay, so this one does have just 4 parcels on it.
It does.
It's just black and white, right there, just 4 parcels. Are these attachments?
What, I'm sorry, can you clarify by what you mean by just 4 parcels?
I just, like, it literally says PPID 4106 0511, PPID 4106 0510, PPID 410 60509, and PPID 410 60508. The property is described as being for a commercial purpose with the following description. 7.585 acres. That's what's in the letter of intent, right? We can't say that's not. So that's what led me to my question. Are these additional narratives, I suppose, or appendixes or something? I don't know what you'd call it.
Explanations of our proposal, you could say.
That are attached, are these, in your opinion, part of this proposal, part of this letter of intent?
That's correct.
Okay, because you didn't mention in your spiel here, you didn't mention the $5 million bribe going to the YMCA. Is that still part of your deal? And has Steve signed any document committing to that $5 million bribe? Because it really makes me, as a public official, puts me in a tough position. Or it's illegal for me to accept an offer where there is a promise of benefit to organizations I support to try and sway my opinion. And you have that right here in black and white that you're going to give $5 million to an organization I love. You're going to give $5 million to an organization that my city administrator is on the board of directors of. You're going to give $5 million to the organization my kids go to daycare of. That my wife is on the capital campaign, that the past chair of the park board is the chair of the capital campaign. You're going to give them $5 million and think that's not swaying the vote? I can't vote for it. It's illegal for me to vote for this proposal. It's illegal. That's not a question, just letting you know. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Got one over there if you want.
Yes. Yes. Tyler.
So as I have a couple of questions, if I may.
Yes, please.
For both companies, and as the economic development professional for this city, couple questions that come into play with regards to movement into our industrial parks. One is, and I'm going to ask this question to both groups, and I would hope that each group would be able to answer the question. The first thing is this, as industrial parks, the purpose of industrial parks is obviously to increase the economic tax base of our community. The second one is job creation. So my question is for both of you, and proposals aside, I'd like to hear from both groups as to how many jobs are going to be created with the purchase of these industrial park land, with the purchase of the industrial park land. Aside from the power needs, our community industrial parks as a whole are designed to create jobs and to create tax base. So, Ian with Clow, I'll ask you first just because you're at the podium at this time. If you, B&D, are you guys okay with that? Thank you. So Ian, my question to you is how many jobs do you plan to, with your proposal from December 3rd, which is the one that's in our packet today, how many jobs do you anticipate being created with your projects?
Our anticipation is a minimum of 10 new jobs. And then obviously the addition, if we're talking in regards to the city of Brainerd, it would be 10 new jobs for this project and then the jobs that come with us moving our other companies to the industrial park.
Okay, thank you. And then with the, and I'll ask you the second question while you're standing there, and then I'll give the B&D an opportunity to answer the same question. But the buildings that you, if you are moving just for kicks and you're moving your warehouses out there, along with the mining facility, any ideas, rough estimates as to the amount of investment that will be made in those buildings moving out there, because that increases our tax base?
Wow. Clearly millions of dollars. If you look at just only replacing our current footprint with a new footprint, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to give an actual dollar estimate, but it's a multi-million dollar project.
It's the work that you've done with, obviously, is High Tech was here with you last week, and just the construction of the mining building, did they give you any thoughts on what that building per se would cost?
Yes. So we know that building out the infrastructure as far as construction of a building will be just shy of $1 million per 20 megawatts.
Okay. Yep, thank you very much. Thanks for answering that. If the representatives from B&D would indulge me, please.
Yes. So for 50 megawatts capacity, the employee that will request, because we need 24/7 operation in there. So for each of the crew, we will request 7 people in there. But we wouldn't be able to hire all from the local because it requires techniques and engineers to stay in the building to help maintaining all the operations. And so if you are talking about jobs inside the building, that would be 7 times 3, because it will be 3 shifts for 24 hours. So that's 21 person will be employed in there. And also for maintenance for all the building, just like basic jobs for the, that would be extra 3 to 4 people. Yes. And for the investment for the infrastructure there, so as the first stage of the plan for the container box for 50 megawatts, so start with the land purchase and the infrastructure and the constructions, and all the container box will take about $10 million. And for the machines that contains in those 50 megawatt container box, that's $150 million.
So my understanding of the container boxes is these are movable objects, correct? So these will be the container boxes. I'm not saying that anybody would leave, but you would be able to move those. It's not just a simple container box. The container box will be renovated with fence, transformers, all the circuits inside, with stacks, putting all the mining machines in there. Each of the, plus the mining machine, that's the total investment will be more than $150 million. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? I think at this time, we'll move for a motion.
Well, we don't need a motion. We can just move on.
Presentations, don't need motions here.
Okay, well, we're gonna end the presentations, I should say. No more talking about the concepts from CLOW or B&D. So we'll end that discussion, and then we'll move on to the motion to number 6 there on your agenda.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I have a motion to accept the transfer of Development District Number 2 from the city to the EDA, and I so move.
Second.
Any discussion?
It's a resolution roll call.
Oh, resolution, we need a roll call on that, Dave.
Absolutely. Bevins?
Yes.
O'Date?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yep.
Beazer?
Abstain?
Kirsch?
Yes.
And Erickson?
Yes, that motion is carried. Thank you so.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
May I ask the representative to state her reasons for abstaining? For the record, just for the record.
Yep, conflict of interest.
Thank you.
One of the Clow's proposals said High Tech would be doing the
So
reconstruction.
can I make a quick clarification? This motion was to accept the transfer of Development District Number 2. I don't
So-
believe that either of the projects, and I'll confer to the attorney, has any play on accepting the Development District.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah, that's correct. You can,
So Tony,
yeah, there's
you
no
can
conflict
vote.
here.
Then yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. I just,
Okay, that's been taken care of. Now we'd like to move forward with a motion to enter into negotiations with Bnd Power. And
If I can, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Yep, so what staff is looking, Mr. Chair and members of the board for this item is to consider entering negotiations with Bnd Power for their requested lots of Lot 1, Block 2, Lot 1, Block 3. What staff we are looking for from the commission is a motion of, if you would like to authorize staff to enter in negotiations with Bnd Power Solutions, we would then enter into negotiations, and then to bring back a purchase and development agreement later for your consideration. If you do motion to direct staff to enter into negotiations with Bnd Power Solutions, we are also asking you to adopt the attached resolution, which would be calling for a public hearing on January 6th of 2022 for the modification District Number 2, Development District Number 2, and conveyance of land to Bnd Power Solutions.
Mr. Chair,
yes,
may I ask a question of the public utilities? We've got 3 representatives here, because I received information today that completely contradicts everything that I thought I knew up until when Ian spoke from the Clow Group.
okay.
I don't know which of you can answer this. Up until 20 minutes ago, it was my understanding that we could provide the power for both these groups. Then we heard from the group from Clow say, no, that's not the case. And I believe it, right? I believe they believe that. What do you guys think? Because I thought we could do something with both. Now, I'm trying to separate the use of power and the need for power with the desire not to have competition. Because I understand that too, being a 30-year business owner. And I want every lottery ticket that I buy to be a winner. But I understand that sometimes that can't happen. So strictly from the use of power and our ability to provide power, with the proposal of 60 megawatts, went from 10 to, it's flex proposal, but with the change to 60 and 50, I think, 110, can we do it? And if not, when could we do it by?
We cannot do 110 right now.
Okay, right
We
now.
have plus or minus 70 megawatts available
Okay,
right now.
right
We
now.
are in the process of doing a transmission study on the transmission line to figure out the feasibility of adding more megawatts. 100 more, 1,000 more, we don't know, but we have started that process with the transmission providers in MISO.
Okay. But it could be 40 more, it could be more than 40 more.
Correct. Yeah, but we have no idea right now. Just starting the study on the,
But isn't that regulated by the federal government also, though? How much
well, yeah,
power?
along with the transmission providers. Yeah.
So
They
we have to get permission from both of those entities.
Yeah, they have to figure out if and when they can provide X amount of power, more power, additional power. Yep.
Okay, so that, because, I was thinking we could work this out with both. I have a second question, and it's regarding crypto mining.
Okay.
So I don't know if anybody can ask it. Maybe one of our proposers can. Maybe some of the smarter people like Gabe or Tyler could answer this. I understand there's no competition necessarily in crypto mining. It's not like selling something where if you could sell more of them than the other guy, you can put them out of business. I want to clarify that because Ian brought up competition, but I believe the competition he meant was the competition for megawatts. And he said that, and it somewhat, I mean, maybe they really could buy all of it. I hope so. But my question is, is there competition in crypto mining? I mean, is it a competitive market? Is there a limited number of these things there is? I know there was a limited market when whoever started the crypto thing, like shares of stock, there wasn't unlimited amount of them. So is there a concern that they're going to be all mined out? Or is that, I don't understand the competition in crypto mining. I need that explained to me. Mr. Chair, does that make sense? You know, why would you, I'm in a hugely competitive market, virtually nothing as competitive as selling gasoline. I get that. You have to have the product and you have to be able to sell it at a tight margin, and there's not an unlimited amount of supply. There's been many times that we run out. I don't understand.
Do we need to ask them?
Well, I'm trying to understand the response of one of the presenters as to why we can't do both. Is it strictly electricity? That's why I asked that question first. We know there's a limit there. We also know what's in the proposals. Is there a competitiveness in the mining? In other words, is one of the proponents' comments that there isn't room for two of us based on electrical consumption or competitiveness in the crypto mining market? I just don't understand.
Electricity.
It's electricity. Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I have to turn it to him. That was I'm done with questions.
Unless they're asking a specific question. Unless they're going to ask a specific question, we should keep it.
I have a specific question.
Did we get we did get an answer.
Yep.
So-
That's kind of what I thought.
I have a
Michael.
two-part question. So in trying to figure out how this whole business works, I've done a little research over the last couple weeks. So at some point, there's some kind of split, and then it takes twice as much power to mine the same amount of crypto or bitcoins, correct?
Yes.
So how often does that happen? And then at what point is it just irrelevant anyway? And we've done all of this and we've built up our power grid for no reason in the end, other than for you guys to make hundreds of millions of dollars over the next, say, 5 years. I don't know how long it's going to last. It's up to him.
Please answer.
Okay, yeah. So for Bitcoin specifically, every 3 years, the production of Bitcoin will cut half. So that is how it was designed. And so that's what you mentioned about it takes more power to get the same amount of Bitcoin out. But first of all, I think the trend now is not using more power. And like from the owner's mind, we would like to save more energy, but increase the efficiency of the mining machine. That would be the trend, not like acquiring more power. I think that is specifically the goal of the owner. I don't know the origin of their business, and I also want to refer to the question that Mr. Bivens asked. So our business, I don't see any competition, because we're just going to be the end user of the power, and we're going to use it to run our machine. And we're not selling it to anybody, and it's just we don't see any competition here.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Yes, Michael.
So the other part you had mentioned, China banned this about a year ago,
Technically July.
just in July.
Yeah.
And so everybody that was mining is now scrambling to mine in the U.S. as it's still legal here. And now we don't really know if it's going to be legal in 2-3 weeks. Who knows? I know there's been talks by some people in the government that they don't like it. Other people stand up for it. I don't know what's going to happen there. But what happens if we do all this? Same thing. Either Bitcoin crashes and turns into nothing, and then we're stuck with all this power and infrastructure, or it just becomes illegal. And why did China do that? So we can understand more of why it might happen here. any of them.
Does anybody want to answer that? Why did China
Yeah,
ban it?
I'd like to answer that.
Okay.
So first of all, if anything going on with Bitcoin or with crypto mining, I think our goal is to, and our advantage is bring certainty to the society, to the community, because we're not only doing crypto mining, we provide a data center service.
Okay, that's not our
Yeah.
question. Our question was, why did China ban crypto mining? That was the question.
It takes a lot of power.
And China didn't want to waste the power on
And-
crypto mining.
And also, they want to use it as a form of currency, and that is also a concern about the government. That's from my understanding.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any other questions?
Can I respond as well?
Please,
I would just
take a minute. Step to the mic, please.
I would just encourage you all to do your own research on why the Chinese government banned mining in China. Thank you.
Okay.
If you have a different answer, could you just give it to us? Because I don't have the information in front of me.
Sure. So
You've done some research?
yes, of course, this is our business.
Okay.
You know, there are a plethora of potential explanations. So I can give you what I believe is true. I cannot guarantee you that my interpretation of what I have read is factual, so I'd prefer not to give you my opinion of it. But there is plenty of content out there that you could find that might give an explanation of why the Chinese, which is a communist country, the government doesn't want to create millionaires within a communist country. That's all I'd say.
Can I ask a question quick? Why'd you just roll your eyes when he said this is our business? I'd just like to know that.
Am I asking you for something?
What?
No. Okay, good. Any other comments or questions? No one? So the EDA, we now want to consider entering, do we have a motion? We need a motion to enter into negotiations?
Whether or not to, and yes, staff is looking for a motion on whether the EDA wants to enter into negotiations with Bnd Power Solutions for the sales of Lot 1, Block 2, and Lot 1, Block 3.
So I would like to, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Gabe, I need a second.
I'll second that.
Kelly seconded, that we will move into negotiations with Bnd Power Solutions?
Mr. Chair, may I comment to the motion?
Yes, please.
Up until 15 minutes ago, I believed we could accommodate both of these proposals. It seems based on since the competitiveness of crypto mining appears to be predicated on the use of power and the availability of power, it can't reasonably say that we can only accept one based on power usage, based on what our PUC just said. It appears to me we still can do both, or maybe can do both. Since this does not accept a proposal, it just grants staff the authority to enter into negotiations. Can you let me finish, please? Thank you. You're pushing me. Sorry. It appears that there is room for negotiations. Hopefully not on the internet. A very odd way to negotiate. However, like adults, maybe we can work this out. Maybe we can't. Maybe in the end we can only choose one. Maybe we'll get one presenter so upset that they'll withdraw. I don't know. It seemed like there was a lot of emotion on the purchase of industrial park lots. However, I think we should try. So I'll support this motion, and then I'll support the one to negotiate with the other presenters as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted to clarify that, yes, this motion would be just to authorize staff to go into negotiations. You could do that with both entities. Again, you aren't agreeing to the sale with this motion.
Which is what Kelly just said, right?
I'm
Yeah,
just
same thing.
certifying
Okay.
that Kelly's comments are correct.
Really?
So we have a motion on the floor to start negotiations with Bnd Power Solutions. Are we also adding,
Do them separate motions.
do them separate? Mm-hmm. So we have a motion on the floor. Do I need roll call vote?
After this one.
Okay, all in favor of entering into negotiations with Bnd Power Solutions, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign?
Aye.
Okay,
And Mr. Chair, and I guess I will defer to the attorney if we have an abstention on this vote.
I do abstain for conflict of interest.
okay. So we have 5,
We have 4 in favor, 1 opposed, and 1 abstain.
yes.
Mr. Chair,
Motion carries.
I move to move forward on the consideration of entering into negotiations with Plow Properties.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Mike. Discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just have a question of the motioner. Are we following the action of the city council and negotiating based on the letter of intent dated November 24th that this body previously considered? Or is this motion to negotiate under the terms of the letter intent signed December 3rd that includes a first right of refusal on all land in the city of Brainerd and a $5 million bribe and all of that? What are we voting on here?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Yes,
Sorry, I'm not the chair.
please.
hang on one second. I was going to read it to you. Yes, sir?
For you. That'll be page 18.
No, this isn't what I want.
The memo has the council.
Here we go.
action.
You ready?
Yep.
My motion is to grant staff the authority to enter into negotiations with Clow Properties LLC for industrial lots. Provide staff guidance regarding terms for negotiation. That's our job. And I have a comment on that when this motion gets a second, if it does. It did.
Yes.
And adopt the attached resolution calling for the public hearing on January 6, 2022 for the modification of Development District Number 2 and the conveyance of land to Clow Properties. So I'm leaving it very vague.
So any industrial parkland we control at the EDA is up for negotiation.
Let the negotiations begin, Mr. Johnson. I hope we can work things out with the Clows. And it appears the big stumbling block, since I asked them both about lots. And I don't mean to discuss the motion yet, because you haven't called for discussion, but is going to be on power. Okay?
Thank you.
So I have a first and a second to enter into negotiations. Is there any other discussion? Yes, Mr. Kelly.
Just to reiterate, it appears it's going to be on power. I would hope no presenters would put inappropriate things into those negotiations. They've heard. I heard what you said. It made sense to me. I'm sure they did too. They're smart people. All of them are.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to abstain from this one just because of all of the bribes and things that have been talked about publicly that I am not comfortable. I hope we can work out a deal with the Clouds. I agree with Kelly 100% that I hope we can make agreements with everybody. I'm going to abstain because I am entirely not comfortable with how this has gone publicly.
Any other discussion?
Can I just put in I really think the Clows didn't know. I really think so.
I believe that they
I've known the Clows for 30 years. Phenomenal people, phenomenal business owners. I think there's been, as Ian said, a lot of things, and I think he's learning now that he's created a lot of these things. The internet is not a good place to negotiate. That's my opinion. So I don't mean to be chastising you. I'm just telling you, it's not a great place to negotiate. Come.
We're still in discussion. Mike?
Yep.
Before we do this and before we end this whole thing, obviously they got permission to start negotiations. Hopefully we get you guys permission to start negotiations. I think this could be a win-win for both groups in working together. I don't know if that's possible or not. but I don't see why it wouldn't be. You guys could probably learn a lot from each other, having two separate operations. We have room to expand. You guys could work together on that negotiation. Work together on whatever cost it is to bring in more power. I don't know what that all entails, but you can talk to these guys about it. Pool funds, figure it out.
We have a motion on the floor to enter into negotiations with Clow Properties. We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign.
I abstained from the vote.
I abstain for conflict of interest.
So did you get that? So, motion carries?
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes.
Staff would also like the two resolutions to calling for that public hearing. So there's two separate resolutions. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, I think we could do both resolutions with one motion, or do you do?
We can do them separate.
Let's do them separate.
Let's just do them separate. Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the resolution calling for the public hearing on B&D.
Okay.
Second.
Second. And let's do that by roll call vote.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'll just do that in just a second. Bevins?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yep.
Beazer?
Abstain.
Kirsch?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes. Now let's do it.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the resolution calling for the public hearing on the Clow Properties proposal.
For January 6th.
Yeah, betcha.
Okay. Second on that?
I can second that.
Okay, Marie seconds. Okay, roll call vote.
Bevins?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Johnson?
Abstain.
Beazer?
Abstain.
Kirsch?
Yes.
And Erickson?
Yes. And that passes also. So good. We have them nailed down. Good. All right, let's move forward. We're on number 9. We're moving away from Bitcoin into the EDA consulting services. Thank you for attending, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, go.
You might want to take the stairs.
Either one works.
Either one? Sorry.
They both leave the room.
Can I go?
Okay, let's move forward then for the EDA and the Economic Development Consulting Services. We had a committee meeting on that. Mr. Chansky, give us a report,
Thank you, Mr.
please.
Chair. I will go quickly. The EDA received 10 responses to your request for proposals for economic development consulting services. As directed at your last meeting, a subcommittee comprised of Commissioners Johnson, O'Day, and Beazer, as well as staffed by myself and Administrator Bergman, met on Monday, December 6th, to review the proposals and make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. As you can see, the recommendations are in your packet. The Commission recommended, or I should say the subcommittee recommended contracting with Visit Brainerd for your marketing, Swanson Haskamp Consulting to do your property marketing and development, WSB to do your funding, business recruitment and retention, business resources, and the Destination Downtown Business Coalition for your Main Street programming. If you accept all those proposals, comes to a total of $134,100. You have a total budget levy of $145.36 for 2022. Some quick notes we just wanted to make about that. First is that the subcommittee recommended keeping attendance of River to Rail meetings, just keep that in-house. The subcommittee recommended removing $10,000 from DDBC's proposal for this, that comes from the facade grant. They felt like that was definitely a worthwhile endeavor, but that felt that that could be funded elsewhere, and that if you look in your summary attached, WSB did include attendance of meetings just as a separate line item.
Thanks,
from
Joe.
those
Great job.
So a summary is attached of all the proposals. All the proposals are attached in your packet. What we as staff were just seeking direction from the board as to whether or not to contract with these recommended consulting firms, and then staff would then work on actual contract agreements and then bring them back during your January 6th meeting. And I'll take any questions that the board has.
Yes, Mr.
Who's
Kelly.
WSB?
WSB, they are primarily an engineering firm. How they do a lot of
That's what I
others.
thought.
They do a lot of other services. They do planning services. They do economic development services as well. So in your proposal, there's there, and they have a full range economic development team, and that's who proposed is that.
Okay, and where are they from? I know they have offices here.
Yep, their main office is in St. Paul, but they also do have a Baxter office as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I just want to point out that this is staff's recommendation. Well, we met for an hour and a half. We didn't come to this as a final solution. We didn't really get to a full recommendation out of our subcommittee. I have not seen the WSB numbers until right now in the packet. So I mean, half of this recommendation is a surprise and new to me right now. And this isn't necessarily a direct recommendation from the subcommittee, just to clarify that.
I'll
Yes.
add to that, we did not have specific numbers from WSB in their proposal on separate line items. From what we were leaving in that meeting, from what I remember, we left open business retention, business resources, and funding. So if we could get filled in on what you guys received back from contacting WSB, that'd be great.
Yep, and that so that is in your packet. What was in your packet on? Let's go there and just give you the actual
didn't get
page
that far.
number. Yep, it was on just page number 69. They did break that down, just breaking down pretty much the individual services. So the funding they listed as $10,000, business retention recruitment at 18, business resources support program at 12.
Okay.
So what type of businesses are you recruiting, David?
Bitcoin mines.
Yeah, lots of them.
Would I be recruiting, or would the EDA be recruiting?
Well, this is your recommendation, so I'm just wondering what you're thinking.
Situation, if you look at the WSB's proposal, their proposal is to work with the EDA and figure, one of their first steps is to work with you and figure out what kind of businesses do you as a board want to recruit? And then they would target that.
Houses.
from there.
Can we get a houses business?
And work on that.
Sorry. I have no more questions.
I have a question
Yes.
again, but Tyler had his hand up first.
Tyler?
Oh. Mr. Chair, we put a little committee together. I thought that was a great idea to go through these proposals. I'm really grateful that staff has done this, but I would feel uncomfortable, since we put the committee together, not hearing their recommendations, now that they have all the numbers. So that's my question. I probably would vote against any proposal without hearing from the committee today. Because that's why we put the committee together, okay? But I do have one, and maybe it's not a, I'd like to ask a question, Mr. Tansky. I see we've got all kinds of different people doing different things. And in the past, we had one organization kind of doing all of it. The advantage to splitting it up like this?
Yes, so this was the decision when the EDA put out the proposals was to break it out into buckets and then allow people to do different buckets. The advantage of that is then we have those entities are doing their expertise. So it's not someone saying, we did have some proposals that said we'll do it all.
Right.
But maybe, we can do the marketing, but the marketing isn't their expertise.
Got
The
it.
advantage here is you are getting entities that is their expertise in each area.
Okay, I'm done. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other comments from the committee that met?
Well, I can comment on the three that we had decided. DDBC, they increased their ask from last year, which I wasn't necessarily excited about, but they had a lot of different ideas that they want to get started with. Trying to think of some of the details. One was business entrepreneurship classes, if I remember right, a series of classes. And then the other one was the facade competition, which we kind of took out in that recommendation. Another one was Visit Brainerd. They had a very well put together plan with different options. they've been doing a lot of marketing. Visit Brainerd, DDBC, if they decide to do marketing, they can work very closely hand in hand. It just made sense. And Swanson Haskamp is the group that we chose out of, we kind of put Swanson Haskamp and Ehlers up against each other. Swanson Haskamp has one of their owners is actually doing our rezoning right now with Mr. Chansky. Ehlers has had previous work with Jennifer. And so we had some experience with both of them through our staff. And we just felt like Swanson Haskamp has a better eye on our city right now. Through going through all the zoning stuff. They know what we need. They know what we want to do with a lot of this stuff. And that's what we chose. As far as the other stuff, it's kind of left up in the air. There's what was it, 8 different things we had on our list of goals that we're trying to accomplish. WSB put together a very good plan. It sounds like they're getting into this stuff, getting out of engineering. Then there's a risk that we go that route and they don't have enough experience in this area. So that's the discussion that we got to have. And I don't know if anybody's here from there right now, but it doesn't look like it.
So are we not at the point to make a motion then on this? Don't we have to have a budget prepared?
Yes, but we do have separate line items that we could.
We could pass a budget without necessarily having all the money spent today.
Yes.
Hey, Mr. Chair. So options you could do if you feel like you're ready to make the decision on some of these, you could motion to contract with those that the subcommittee has, as Commissioner O'Day just stated, said that they were fully recommending, again, that being Visit Brainerd, Swanson Haskamp, and DDBC, and then save that for another meeting. As for your budget, again, you could put, again, a certain amount and just professional services, say this is the amount, and how that's gonna be spent will be determined at a later date. So you could still pass the budget by just putting in, professional services, X amount.
Does anyone feel comfortable in making a motion to that intent?
I don't know exactly what the motion would be, but I guess I would just say, I wouldn't be comfortable moving forward with anything where we're allocating that for the funding, the business retention and business resources, just because I would like to either have the committee have more of a discussion around it now that they have all the information back. Just my review of the proposals, I didn't see a lot of specifics in WSB's proposal of what the deliverables were for those items and comparing that to other proposals, including Blidex. And I just have concerns that I know they have a local office, but I just would like, to get more information on, what exactly their deliverables would be in those task areas. Because I see a little bit more specifics in, like, say, Bladex's proposal of what exactly they're providing, and some of the things that they did say that they were going to do, I know Bladex is already doing. So I'm just needing some more information on that. But the way David worded it, where if we can move forward with allocating funding for some of for the task areas where the committee did have agreement on it, I would be comfortable with that. So I don't know, I don't have a motion, but that's my thoughts.
Yes.
I can make a motion if you'd like.
Yes,
Mr.
I
Chair.
would.
Yeah. We move forward with contracting with Visit Brainerd for Mark. You know what? Actually, I should probably just abstain since Visit Brainerd is one of them, so I'm not even going to discuss anything.
Which one do you want, Gabe? A or B?
Not WSB.
No, for the marketing, for Visit Brainerd.
Oh, which one do you want, Kelly? So I was going to make the most. I'm not going to make. I was going to make the most for everything except WSB because I don't like WSB because we gave WSB $1.3 million to give us 2 hockey rinks and 1 warming house. They ended up taking $2 million and gave us 1 hockey rink and a warming house. So I just don't trust anything that organization can do. So I was comfortable with everything except WSB, but I'm not going to make any motion.
Okay. Can you go back to the recommendation?
Or can you scroll up one page? There we go.
I'll motion to move forward with the property marketing and development, and Main Street programming recommendations.
Second.
And, okay. Discussion.
I'll be abstaining.
We have a motion. We have a first and a second. Any discussion?
I don't know if I can speak to anything since I'm on the DDBC board, but I just had questions around the recommendation for the committee or for DDBC to remove $10,000 from the budget for the facade grant. Part of the goals outlined in the call for proposals mentioned wanting to support facade improvements, so I guess maybe that's something we can have further discussions on around what suggested funding sources you were thinking, but if you want DDBC to be able to pursue that funding, we would need at least some staff time to, do that grant process. So that, I guess I would anticipate that we would need some funding to support staff time to pursue that funding. So I don't know if taking the full $10,000 out would allow us to still do that program.
Are you proposing that we drop DDBC's recommendation from this at this time, so you can revisit that, or?
No, I guess, I don't know if this is the proper time to get more information on, what was the committee's recommendation for what funding sources they wanted DDBC to pursue, and then also that, we would still need, I think we would still want some EDA funding to be able to pay a staff person to apply for that funding and do that research so that we can meet that goal that EDA outlined in their strategic plan, so.
Yes, Kelly.
Mr. Chair, I know I seconded it because I want to move this along because I got other things I got to do.
Yes.
I don't think we should vote on any, don't think we should pass this today. Clearly, it is not, there's no option A or B on the Visit Brainerd part. Clearly, DDBC part is unclear. I just think we should come back with a clear recommendation from the committee. So even though I seconded this, I am going to vote against it because it appears we're not ready.
I agree. I'll withdraw my motion.
Second.
Okay, motion withdrawn.
Let's just go.
Can we vote on the budget though?
Yes.
Yes.
So we need a motion to vote on the budget, so we have that in order, and then we can discuss the details later. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so I need a motion to, on the proposed budget of $145,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion. Yes. Discussion.
Just a question. We're adopting the budget, removing the WSB and DDBC and all of these numbers that are
No
filled out in the
individuals in there
budget.
at
So removing those numbers, we don't have the expenses figured out, but we have the revenue figured out in the
Yes.
budget. Okay.
Yes.
Clarification to the proposer. Do you want to put, $145,000 in the professional services line, just to say there's $145,000 available
Sure.
for professional services?
Yep.
May I also have another clarification, Mr. Chair, is whether or not does the proposer's motion include $5,350 for the Initiative Foundation?
Yes.
Okay.
So then I think it would be $145,036 minus $5,350 minus $150 would be what's in the professional services for a balanced budget.
That's exactly what I motioned.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion is carried. So the budget has been set. We'll discuss the details.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
You can do your commissioner's comments on Facebook.